Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of Starlink 17-2 mission launching from the West Coast, that is, from the pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. If this is your first time here, hi, my name is Dipta Maitra, performing the commentary for today's mission launch, and you are watching AstroYonder live.
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around.
Houston, we see a nominal MECO. Welcome to space.
Hope you all are doing fine and excited about the upcoming SpaceX Starlink launch. And today there is a good possibility of seeing a jellyfish effect, so keep an eye out there in the sky. We are super excited bringing you the coverage of SpaceX's 520th overall launch and the 92nd Falcon 9 launch of this year, which also suggests that SpaceX is going to have its 100th mission launch this year with just 9 more launches to go. Today, it's the 32nd launch from Vandenberg for SpaceX as they continue building their incredible launch cadence for this year. Today's launch is a special one as it marks the third Starlink mission to a Sun-Synchronous orbit, with the first being Starlink Group 17-1 launch in over 2 years. Since the 2023 Group 3 launches with version 1.5 Starlink satellites. And this is also the third time the version 2 mini variant is heading to an Sun-Synchronous orbit. This launch is significant as it targets a near polar orbit with a 97.6 degrees inclination designed to enhance Starlink's coverage over remote polar regions. And we will dive into the details shortly, but currently we are standing by for a Falcon 9 liftoff at 8:56 p.m. Pacific Time, 11:56 p.m. Eastern Time from California for a southwesterly launch for SpaceX Starlink mission. The Starlink mission 17-2 will launch a batch of 24 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit. Now, before we dive into the mission details, on behalf of AstroYonder team and our awesome moderators, we want to thank you all for joining us for today's launch. We are so grateful to have you as part of the stream. Really appreciate you being here. A huge shout out to our amazing YouTube community for the support as we bring you detailed coverage of space launches with all the stats and in-depth insights. Really grateful to have you all here with us. Now, would really appreciate it if you guys could join the chat and let us know from where you are joining us. Additionally, feel free to share any questions, suggestions, or opinion with us that will make us to improve our streams as well as to know your perspective. Would be super grateful to hear from you guys. Now, just a heads up, it's me only managing the launch coverages on my own. So if by chance we face any technical issues, please bear with me and be tuned in. There is absolutely nothing to worry about, and you will not going to be miss anything in today's webcast. I will do my best to guide you through the Falcon 9 rocket launch happening in approximately 45 minutes from now. Now let's get into today's mission. as we don't receive the launch weather forecast for Vandenberg flights from 45th Weather Squadron, but so far the report suggests that the weather is looking good for today's Falcon 9 launch opportunity, as well as the range is ready to support. Weather officials keeping a keen eye on the weather for any probability of launch weather constraint violations and range violations. The forecast calls for a temperature of 17 degrees Celsius, broken clouds with 84% cloud cover, and a wind speed of 9 miles per hour. Now let's take a look at today's payload detail for Starlink Group 17-2 mission. Now, before discussing about the payload, just a reminder, today's payload does not consist of any newer optimized Starlink version 2 mini satellites, and today's payload does not consist of any direct-to-cell satellites as well. These are the regular and basic version 2 mini variants of the Starlink satellites. Starlink satellites built in Redmond, Washington. Today's payload consists of 24 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. Today's launch is the 66th dedicated Starlink mission of the year and 285th dedicated Starlink launch in total. Before this launch, SpaceX had already sent up 1,611 Starlink satellites in 2025 alone. And with this one, the count jumps to 1,635, crossing the 1,500 mark. Now, if we include the 22 version 3 variants launched on 3 Starship flights this year, then it's a total of 1,657 Starlink launched this year. We really must agree that's an incredible and astounding pace. Now, coming back to the payload details, each of these satellites having 5 advanced Ku band phased array antennas, 3 dual band parabolic antennas using Ka and E bands, and a dual solar array that spreads out to about 100 feet wide with a total surface area of 52.5 square meters. Not to forget, these two solar arrays are also aeroneutral, which enable faster on-orbit maneuvers, and each satellite is equipped with a high-capacity battery to provide power to the payloads. Each Starlink satellite features 3 space laser transponders, that is also known as optical inter-satellite links, for intercommunications for communicating with space lasers, moving data at speeds up to 200 Gbps. These Starlink satellites make use of argon-fueled Hall effect thrusters for in-orbit maneuvering, previously which was based on krypton. And this switch was mainly due to the cost effectiveness argon provides compared to krypton. Relative to krypton, the argon required to fuel Starlink version 2 will be practically free. Now, to put it into perspective, fueling its next generation, next constellation of almost 30,000 version 2 satellites could cost SpaceX less than fueling 4,000 version 1 satellites, which were based on krypton. Also, SpaceX claims that its second generation thrusters using argon has 2.4 times the thrust and 1.5 times the specific impulse of the previously krypton fuel thrusters. Today's batch is going to be deployed initially in an orbit with an altitude of approximately 267 kilometers with an inclination of 97.61 degrees. But the operational orbit will be up at around 560 kilometers with that same inclination, that is of 97.61 degrees. Each version 2 mini satellite weighs approximately 1,763 pounds which is equivalent to 800 kilograms. Now, just for the context, as SpaceX is launching its optimized versions of Starlink, those satellite weighs around 1,268 pounds, or you can say 575 kilograms, which is about 22% lighter than the original version 2 mini design. Starlink satellite uses custom-built star tracker to find their position, altitude, and orientation for optimal broadband throughput. Also, each one has 4 reaction wheels for precise attitude control, plus a hot spare setup for reliability, and their aluminum flywheel is designed to safely burn at the end of their useful life. Now there is an update for you guys. I'm coming back to the payload details. Currently, um, the liftoff time SpaceX adjusted. Let me just convert it so that I can say you that currently SpaceX is targeting for a liftoff time of 9:31 p.m. Pacific time and 12:31 a.m. Eastern time. So that's going to be 26th of July for Pacific time zone, 9:31 p.m. and for Eastern time zone it will be July 27th, that is 12:31 a.m. Eastern time. Also would like to welcome Ed Osdale for tuning in once again after a long time, and also thanks for giving the update, Ed. We also just checked in right now and said the update recently. So we have plenty of time, so we will be discussing some more stats today in more details. Now coming back to the payload details discussion. Additionally, these Starlink satellites, they have an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system that uses US Department of Defense debris tracking database for avoiding collisions with space junk and other spacecrafts and other Starlink satellites, all autonomously. Now, to grasp why an autonomous collision avoidance system is so important, here is a quick bit of context. SpaceX reported last year that Starlink satellite carry out about 275 collision avoidance maneuvers each single day. And in the previous 6 months leading up to that report, the Starlink satellite performed around 50,000 such maneuvers. So I guess those reported numbers make you understand the criticality of an onboard autonomous collision avoidance system and to put things into perspective. Now, some quick fun facts. The first launch of 21 Starlink version 2 mini satellites, known as Starlink Group 6-1, took place from Cape Canaveral in Florida on February 27, 2023. Then last year, Starlink with the group Starlink 6-39 mission launched on February 2020, February 25, 2024 from Cape Canaveral again. It was the first to include 24 Starlink version 2 mini satellites, the then highest count for version 2 mini. But starting this year on January 21st, 2025 with group 11-8, SpaceX launched 27 optimized version 2 mini satellites for the first time. Then on March 31st, 2025 with group 6-80, they launched 28 optimized version 2 minis for the first time. And most recently, with May 4th, 2025 Starlink launch, SpaceX broke its own record by launching 29 version 2 mini optimized satellites, surpassing previous high of 28. That was the biggest batch yet for the version 2 mini variant. In comparison, the highest for version 1 is 60 satellites, and for version 1.5, it's 56. Before today's launch, SpaceX launched 34 times of its optimized version 2 mini variants, bringing the total to 923 number of satellites. Once again, just to clarify, today's payload does not consist of any upgraded optimized Starlink version 2 minis or any direct-to-cell satellites on board. This batch features the regular baseline version 2 mini satellites. Now, please provide me a couple of seconds so that I can update the timeline showing on your screen, also as a timer. Generally, in Vandenberg flight, we see rare adjustment in liftoff time, but SpaceX did it today. So please let me to just adjust the liftoff time as well as the pre-launch timeline showing on your screen. We updated it, so we are currently 67 minutes away from the liftoff. So as we are done with the payload details discussion for today's mission, let's get back to know that although today's payload does not consist of optimized version of Starlink, but as we are having some plenty of time, so let's just know that why SpaceX is going with this optimized Starlink versions and why are we seeing so many of them packed into one launch. SpaceX is increasingly launching optimized version 2 mini satellites as a strategic move to expand and upgrade its satellite internet network. These satellites act as a transitional solution until the larger version 3 variants can launch aboard Starship. This lighter and more advanced version 2 minis offer roughly 4 times the capacity of earlier Starlink versions, allowing more to be launched per mission, up to 29 at a time. As of now, SpaceX uh, launched one time a batch of 29 Starlink version 2 mini optimized Starlink satellites. Also, this reduces the cost and accelerate the deployment. This helps SpaceX meet rising global demand, replacing aging or deorbited version 1 or version 1.5 satellites. And also it helps to maintain the consistent coverage while building towards its authorized generation 2 constellation of up to 30,000 satellites. Now, for an example, in February 2024, SpaceX announced deorbiting 100 older version 1 satellites due to a potential flaw, and recent data shows that they deorbit about 4 to 5 satellites each day. And this obviously create voids in the constellation, which SpaceX addresses by launching new version 2 mini optimized satellites, offering 4 times the capacity and improved performance. Hopefully that gave you a bit of more insight. And I know, guys, it's still early in the stream, but just a quick request: if this stream fuels your love for space, give this stream a like. It helps the stream get discovered by amazing space enthusiasts like you who are joining us right now. Would be super grateful for your kind support. Now, once again, just to remind you, SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time. They are currently targeting 9:31 p.m. Pacific time, 12:31 a.m. Eastern time. Now let's take a look at the flight record for the booster supporting today's Starlink 17-2 mission. The booster with tail number 1075 supporting today's mission is quite a mature booster, you can say, with 18 previous flights in its record, including missions like SDA-0A for Space Development Agency, which is a United States Space Force direct reporting unit. Sarah 2 mission for German Armed Forces, and the last non-Starlink mission supported by today's booster is Transporter 11 mission, is SpaceX's rideshare mission, which launched 116 satellites. And additionally, this booster supported 15 Starlink missions. Now awaiting its 19th flight, approximately 63 minutes from now. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-16 on 23rd of May 2025. And today it's the third flight of this booster and landing on, of course, I Still Love You Droneship for this year. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 64 days. Also worth mentioning, it's quite interesting that today's mission will be the 19th consecutive launch of this booster from Pad Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg. And previously, there have been 15 landings made by the booster on, of course, I Still Love You, and 3 on landing zone 4. So that's all about the boosters supporting today's Starlink mission. Now let's have a look at the bar graph showing number of Falcon 9 launches each year. Before this upcoming launch, SpaceX completed its 91st Falcon 9 launch for this year with Starlink 10-26 mission, which launched from Cape Canaveral on July 26, 2025. As of now, it is today, but today's launch will be happening with SpaceX adjusting their liftoff time. So that will be happening on July 27th. Well, meanwhile, I would like to welcome William Evans. No, Evans, you didn't miss the launch. Actually, SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time, so I guess you are lucky because you are still out there, and I hope you will be able to see the jelly bean effect today. Excuse me, jellyfish effect. But welcome, William, and I'm glad you tuned in to AstroYonder. Now, before today's launch, SpaceX obscures the number of annual launches made till year 2022. SpaceX is now having 30 more than the launches made in year 2022. With today's launch of Starlink Group 17-2 mission, the bar graph shows 92 number of Falcon 9 launches for 2025. As of now, SpaceX is less than halfway to reach the number of launches made in year 2023 and 2024. With today's launch, SpaceX is now only 4 behind 2023's total and 40 short of 2024. SpaceX is again aiming for another record-breaking year with around 170 launches, surpassing last year's highest annual launch count of 134 launches in total, including 2 Falcon Heavy missions. That's an ambitious target, but hopefully it gets achieved. Well, William, I'm not understanding about what you are saying, but as far as I am guessing what you are trying to say, I don't know. I think they didn't updated the liftoff time. So because SpaceX recently updated the liftoff time, you can check the nextspaceflight.com or any other site. Hopefully they updated their liftoff time there. But just to remind you and to everyone, the current liftoff time for today, it's just a second. It's 9:31 p.m. Pacific time, 12:31 a.m. Eastern time. And I hope this makes you clear to know that what is the liftoff time for today. And you are out there, I hope that you will be having a great experience to see the launch itself. Now, just to remind you guys, SpaceX has hit some major milestones this year. The commercial GTO-1 what I was saying that with the commercial GTO-1 launch, which marked the 500th successful Falcon 9 mission, while the June 12th Starlink launch from Vandenberg became the 500th overall successful mission for SpaceX. Then just a day later on June 13th, with the Cape Canaveral launch, SpaceX completed the first generation of their direct-to-cell constellation. So all back-to-back incredible achievements for SpaceX. And currently another record is awaiting around the corner, SpaceX reaching the 100th launch for this year. Well, I will be skipping the pre-launch timeline for discussion since it's a typical Falcon 9 launch for Starlink with absolutely no deviations in any of the pre-launch events. And also you can track the pre-launch timeline updating live on the upper left side of your screen. However, there is one point I would like to highlight just for quick knowledge, which you might be already aware of, that the strong back reclining process at Vandenberg differs from that at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center. Here at Vandenberg, we recline the strong back 13 degrees, whereas at Cape Canaveral and Kennedy Space Center, we recline the strong back about a degree and a half or two away from the Falcon 9. That's the only thing different in today's pre-launch schedule, as this is a Vandenberg flight. Once again, just to update you guys, SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time for today's Falcon 9 launch from Vandenberg. Currently, SpaceX is targeting a liftoff time of 9:31 p.m. Pacific time on July 26th, 12:31 a.m. Eastern time on July 27th. We are still checking every second so that we can understand any kind of more alteration in today's liftoff time. As of now, this is the current adjusted liftoff time. Now, having your support inspires us to push forward and give our best to meet what you hope for. If this stream fuels your love for space, give this stream a like. It's kind of fine tuning the trajectory of our mission to build a community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss a launch update. Here at AstroYonder, we believe together we will build the ultimate constellation of space enthusiasts. Would be super happy and grateful to have you with us. Now let's go ahead and briefly step through the trajectory for today's Starlink mission. Falcon 9 leaving the pad from Space Launch Complex 4 East from Vandenberg Space Force Base. With the spacecraft on board, the batch of 24 Starlink satellites for a southwest trajectory, drifting away from the coast of Southern California, heading into a low Earth orbit, that is to the 17th shell of second generation Starlink mega constellation indicated by that green line on your screen. The red line you see indicates where Falcon 9 first stage will land after stage separation, just a little later, leaving California's coast. This is going to be a off-the-land landing, a Droneship landing using autonomous spaceport Droneship, named, of course, I Still Love You, here at the West Coast. This will be the 143rd successful Droneship landing on, of course, I Still Love You, if everything goes well. Now some recovery specifics for you guys. The planned booster recovery is approximately 595 kilometers with estimated fairing recovery approximately 650 kilometers downrange, and the stage 2 debris reentry will be in the South Pacific Ocean on its second orbit. Well, firstly, I would like to welcome Arom for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, Arom. And yes, the launch is still on for today. I don't know from which time zone um, you are from, but let me update you once again that today's liftoff time SpaceX adjusted. Currently, they are targeting a liftoff time of 9:31 p.m. Pacific time on July 26th and 12:31 a.m. Eastern time on July 27th. But thanks, Arum, for tuning in, and I hope you will be enjoying the stream and the insights we are providing. Well, Arum, I guess you are the lucky one, and hopefully you will be able to see the jellyfish effect today, as there is a possibility. But I just updated you the liftoff time SpaceX adjusted for today's launch from Vandenberg. Hopefully that will help you. Really, you are lucky one, Arum, and I'm a little bit feeling jealous about you being there watching the launch in real. As of now, I didn't saw any SpaceX launch in real. Hopefully someday I will be. Now, coming to the stats and insights we are discussing. Right now on your screen, here are some of the stats related to Droneship as of today. As we all know, currently there are 3 in SpaceX's Droneship fleet. Out of 3, of course, I Still Love You is based here at California, and other 2, Just Read the Instructions and A Short Follow Gravitas, are stationed in Florida. We anticipate the addition of a 4th drone ship as promised by SpaceX earlier, possibly occurring late this year or who knows in early next year, because we are not getting any single piece of information regarding that. But SpaceX did promise that they will be adding a new drone ship in their drone ship fleet. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that will be happening soon. Now moving on, let's talk about the fairing recovery. SpaceX will utilize a recovery vessel to retrieve the fairing halves from the Pacific waters. The 2 halves of the payload fairing will be recovered slightly farther, approximately 55 kilometers downrange from where the first stage lands on the drone ship. Of course, I Still Love You. After they will smoothly splash down with the guidance of parachutes. We know that SpaceX manufactures the fairings in-house, with the total cost of 2 halves is nearly $6 million. Quite obvious that SpaceX aims to recover fairings for repetitive use, mirroring its approach with rocket boosters, upholding the motto of reusability and sustainability. Now you can see on your screen right now that how a fairing recovery looks like. Although the recovery vessel on your screen is Doug performing the recovery operations, but today the supporting recovery vessel is Go Beyond here at the Pacific, or you can say at the West Coast. Other recovery vessels at the East Coast, Doug is heading back to Port Canaveral after supporting just the recent Starlink Group 10-26 launch from Cape, while Bob and Go Cosmos are waiting for their next assignment. Well, Arum, I hope you and your kids will be having a great time watching the launch. And yes, the weather is quite clear. I checked that. Although we are not receiving any weather forecast for 45th Weather Squadron, but today it's a quite promising weather conditions for the Falcon 9 launch happening in approximately 46 minutes from now. Now, if you guys feel like we are adding value to your viewing experience, please consider giving this stream a like. It's kind of a fuel for YouTube's algorithm rocket, which brings in more space lovers and helping rocket fans discover this stream. That also helps others to join our community with amazing space enthusiasts like you. I know I really to say this line personally, but what to do? I have to say, please consider smashing the subscribe button and turning on the bell notification, as we are burning our all day propellant to bring you detailed streams packed with stats and insights. Your support would really inspire us and to keep up with your hard work to meet your expectations. Although I say that I hate to say those lines, but please do consider subscribing to us. That will help us to have you with have you with us in every of the upcoming launch streams. Now we are currently 45 minutes away from the launch, and SpaceX will be having the launch, the webcast to begin 5 minutes earlier. So you can say we are currently 40 minutes away from the webcast to begin. So let's run down through the stats we have for you to share with. Today's launch marks the 520th SpaceX's overall launch and the 66th dedicated Starlink launch of this year. This is going to be the 507th Falcon 9 launch to date. 19th flight of this particular Falcon 9 booster supporting today's mission, with tail number 1075 being in action after 64 days. And by that I mean the booster's turnaround time is 64 days. Today's mission marks the 92nd Falcon 9 launch and SpaceX's 95th overall launch of 2025. This will be the 447th Falcon booster reflight to date. That is the launch of a booster that has flown at least once before. 138 orbital launch for SpaceX, launching from Space Launch Complex 4 East, marking 206th overall launch from Pad Slick 4 East. With the success of this mission, SpaceX will have a remarkable 9,289 Starlink satellites, which includes 674 dedicated direct-to-cell satellites launched to date. Just to remind you guys, back in last month on June 13th, 2025, with Starlink Group 12-26 launch from Cape, SpaceX completed the first generation of their direct-to-cells constellation. Now, before moving on to some more stats, would like to welcome Wendy McKay to our channel. And also, Wendy, thanks for supporting us. I hope we will be meeting your viewing experience and hope we will be adding some value to the webcast. Well, Evans, you will be now ordering some things from Amazon Fresh. Well, it's still time for them here. Where we are, Amazon delivers up to 10 p.m. at night. So hopefully you will be having your order getting delivered on time. Now, moving on to some reusability statistics. This launch marks 431st Falcon 9 booster reflight to date. This will be the 143rd landing on, of course, I Still Love You Droneship. 19th landing of this first stage booster with tail number 1075 supporting today's mission. And with this mission's first stage landing, SpaceX rack ups their 389th overall Droneship landing, marking 461st Falcon 9 landing so far, and the 480th SpaceX's overall landing to date. Now, just a quick note, we are not counting the landing failure on Just Read the Instructions Droneship during Starlink Group 12-20 mission this year, as it was a partial success. So you may notice there is a difference of 1 in Falcon 9 and overall landing stats compared to what is listed on SpaceX's website. So please don't get confused with that. Although logically SpaceX should not be counting that in, but they are counting it as the stats matters, so we are not counting it. Now, speaking of the landing, here are some of the stats for Droneship landing prior to today's mission. Worth mentioning among the Droneship, a shortfall of Gravitas has attempted overall 120 landings on it, and they had only one unsuccessful landing attempt so far, with 119 successful landings. The most recent mission supported by a shortfall of Gravitas was the Starlink Group 10-26 mission, that is on July 26, 2025. And this scar on the landings made the landing streak on a shortfall of Gravitas was due to the previous landing failure that happened during Starlink Group 8-6 mission, where it witnessed its first landing failure as the booster with tail number 1062 on its record-breaking 23rd flight at that time, which couldn't make it to have a successful landing. In comparison, just read the instructions has encountered 4 unsuccessful landings with 127 successful landings out of 131 overall landing attempts, and the recent O3B Empower 9 and 10 mission that happened on July 22nd of 2025. While today's Droneship, of course I Still Love You, has experienced 7 unsuccessful landings, 142 successful landings out of 149 overall attempts, with the recent supported mission back on July 18, 2025 was the Starlink Group 17 17-3 mission. I just got confused. Today one is 17-2. Now, once again, please note that these Droneship landing stats, which I mentioned here, are excluding today's mission. These are prior to today's launch. Now, let's have a look into some key stats for SpaceX launches specifically in this year. Which includes today's mission as well. Well, before breaking down the stats, I would like to welcome William Winsmaga. I hope I could pronounce your username in a right way. If not, my sincere apologies. Please don't mind me. Thanks for tuning in, Liam. I'm calling you as Liam. And I hope you will be enjoying the stream, and hope our research and stats will make you to have a more deeper insights for the launch happening. Also would like to welcome Ref Seeker for tuning in and also for supporting us. Welcome Ref Seeker. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you will be enjoying the stream as we are getting approximately 30 minutes from now. The webcast will be beginning. Well, when William, to referring to William, I'm saying when the Amazon Fresh is there, why go to store? Just order them. And I hope you will be ordering something for the kids as well, possibly a jar of Nutella. Well, that's my favorite. That's why I said so. Now, with coming back to the stats, with today's mission, SpaceX will be having its 95th launch of this year. Out of those, 66 are Starlink missions, including this one. 26 were non-Starlink missions for commercial and government organizations, and 3 Starship launches. 87 of these missions using a reuse booster, including today's booster as well. Now, if we look into the geographical distribution, we get SpaceX is having 60 launches from the East Coast, with 16 from Launch Complex 39A, that is from Kennedy Space Center, and 44 from Space Launch Complex 40, that is from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Now, the Kennedy Space Center pad Launch Complex 39A is just about to witness its next launch with the SpaceX Crew 11 launch that is targeting no earlier than July 31st as of now. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, they will be having their 32nd launch with today's mission, that is from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. As of now, 3 launches from Gulf Coast at Starbase in Texas and 2 Super Heavy booster catches with Starship's 7th and 8th test flights. On Flight 9, no Super Heavy booster catch was attempted. According to some current speculations going on, guess the Starship's test flight 10 will be happening in the second week of August if everything goes as planned. We know SpaceX is recovering from their massive loss that happened to the test stand. Hopefully they can make it to the second week of August. And personally, or the more sooner, the more it's better. Now moving with the stats again. For landings, they will be nailing it for the 90th time this year. Most of the landings are on Droneship with 79 landings. 27 on, of course, I Still Love You, including today's supporting landing that will be happening on, of course, I Still Love You. 24 on Just Read the Instructions, and 28 on A Shortfall of Gravitas. As of now, A Shortfall of Gravitas is leading among the drone ship fleet in terms of the landings being made on each drone ships. For ground landings, they pulled off 11 of them, where Landing Zone 1 had 5 landings. Landing Zone 2 had 1 landing only, and Landing Zone 4 witnessed 5 landings. SpaceX is now working on adding a landing pad at the East Coast in order to retain their return to launch site, also known as RTLS capability, as SpaceX's lease for Landing Zone 1 and Landing Zone 2 expires in July this month. I guess it will be a single landing zone, unlike now where we have 2 of them. Also, the Crew 11th launch will be the last land landing at the East Coast on the current active landing zone if SpaceX does not move on with renewing their lease for the landing zone 1 and 2. So we have to anyhow witness this last landing being made on the East Coast. And also would like to mention that we will be posting the upcoming all the coverages for Crew 11's launch by today or by tomorrow, so please check them out. We will be covering every events that will be happening for Crew 11, starting from the launch to the welcome ceremony. And also just after 2 or 3 days, I guess Crew 10 will be heading back, so those streams will be also posted on time. Once again, just a kind request, providing a like to this stream. A little bit of your support means the world to us, which inspires us to work more hard to provide live coverage filled with stats and thorough insights. And for your support, we would be super grateful to you. Now, this page of stats are prior to today's launch. The success rate for ground landings is 98.91%. For droneship landing, it is 97%. And the overall landing success rate is 97.36%. Now, the landing success rate for this year dropped to 98.88% due to the failure of booster with tail number 1086 to land on Just Read the Instruction Droneship during Starlink Group 12-20 mission. Yes, Ed, it's just currently 28 minutes and 42 seconds from the liftoff. We are just wrapping up with the stats we are having to share with you all. Now, just to inform you, everyone, SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time for today's Falcon 9 launch from Vandenberg. Currently, SpaceX is targeting a liftoff time of 9:31 p.m. Pacific time on July 26th. Please excuse me, I have to talk so much, I'm a little bit getting choked. And they are targeting a liftoff time for today's launch at 12:31 a.m. Eastern Time on July 27th. Now, coming back to the stats, today's mission is the 156th launch since last mission failure, that is the Starlink Group 9-3 mission. And the most launches in a calendar quarter to date is 46 launches, which includes one Starship launch in the second quarter of 2025, which was previously 42 launches, including two Starship launches in the fourth quarter of 2024. So you can just see the difference, how SpaceX is moving rapidly. And I guess they will be getting close to 170 launches they are attempting this year, the annual launch count. But for sure, at least for my opinion, I feel that they will be again crossing their annual launch count for this year, surpassing 134 launches, which happened last year. And most launches in a calendar month is 17 launches back in November 2024 and May 2025, including one Starship launch each. Once again, just to remind you, this page which I mentioned right now, it's prior to today's launch. And I hope you guys will be noticing it is mentioned on the bottom left-hand side, right-hand side corner of these stats. Once again, this page of stats are prior to today's launch, and what we have is 134 launches in calendar quarter, which is the highest annual launches to date. But if we count in Starship launches, then it's 138. Although SpaceX is not counting the Starship launches, so it's 134. 155 successful launches since last mission failure with Starlink 9-3. 65 successful landings since last landing failure with Starlink 12-20. Booster with tail number 1067 having highest number of flights and successful landings, that is 29 times, with the previous Starlink mission launch of Group 10-25. And I guess soon we will be having the 30th flight for the same booster with tail number 1067, as because the booster moved towards the pad at the east coast. Don't know for sure which mission launch it will be, but at least I guess up to group 13-4, it's not the booster with tail number 1067 to be supporting any of the mission. I guess 17-4 that will be happening on August, that may be supported by this booster. But of course, again, I'm wrong, because the Group 17 launch will be happening from here at Vandenberg. But the booster is there at the East Coast. Now, moving on with the stats, prior to today's mission, 365 missions with at least one reused fairing, and approximately 698 number of fairing halves were reused prior to today's launch, with the fairing half reused to reach the maximum of 32 times being reused. Now moving on to this year's orbital launches, including today's one. With this 161st orbital launch of this year, the United States is leading with 107 launches with 66.5%, followed by China with 37 launches, Russia with 9 launches, 2 launches each by Japan and India, and Europe with 4 launches, with the recent launch of Vega C. Australia is just about to debut with the launch of Ares rocket, scheduled no earlier than July 28th, which got scrubbed on its initial attempt due to some fairing half issues. Later on, we saw a series of postponement due to weather concerns. And just to update you guys, those who are keen to watch this Ares rocket launch, I guess Not will be streaming on YouTube, although it's not an official stream, but Not will be streaming the Gilmore Space's Ares rocket launch happening from Australia. So please do check it out. And also it looks like Gilmore Space have taken a page from ESA's Aerospace's playbook during their Spectrum launch attempt by not providing a live stream initially and getting trolled by so many people. But Gilmore Space clearly stated the reason for not streaming the event, that is to minimize non-essential network traffic, likely a precaution against bandwidth related risk. It's a similar strategy which we also seen with Rocket Lab's Electron, which skipped streaming its first flight back in 2017 for similar operational concerns. It's quite good that Gilmore Space seems to be prioritizing mission success over public engagement for now. So now we have this pie chart showing 2025 orbital launches by rocket variations, including today's launch. Well, would like to welcome Mars, but I'm not aware of that. But let me just check it. You can also check it that on internet. No, currently it's on over Tokyo at Japan, so it's not. It didn't flew over over California. And just to update you and everyone as well, today's liftoff time is currently being adjusted and currently being targeted for 9:31 p.m. Pacific time on July 26th, 12:31 a.m. Eastern time on July 27th. SpaceX adjusted their liftoff time for today's Vandenberg flight. Now, as we are on this pie chart, so let me just break it down for you. Falcon 9, as it gearing up for its 92nd launch. Previously, there were 10 launches for Electron, 1 launch for New Glenn, 7 launches for Soyuz 2 rocket variants, including both 2.1A and 2.1B. And I hope you guys are aware of that the New Glenn's second launch is targeting no earlier than August 15th. And they will be placing their first blue ring payload, I guess, on in the year 2026. China's Long March 3BE variant had 9 launches, while Long March 2D and Long March 6A having 5 launches each. Series 1 rocket with 4 launches. Long March 8A rocket had 2 launches so far. Meanwhile, the Long March 2C and J Long 3 rocket each had 1 launch as of now. Now, I did promise that I will be having a breakdown of these others. You can see on the bottom right hand side of your screen, which includes 24 launches. Although due to having lack of time as we are gearing up for this upcoming Crew 11 launch, so I couldn't provide that in this stream, but hopefully I will be having some time to give a complete breakdown of each rocket so that you can know that which rocket got launched. But for now, just let me tell you that which rockets are there in the others section. So firstly, India's GSLV Mark II. Also, it will be having its second flight in the upcoming NASA's NISA launch that will be happening on July 30th, just the day before of Crew 11's launch. Also, it includes Japan's H322S and final launch of H2A. I guess Japan is currently testing something with their new rocket variant of the H3, something I saw like that on Twitter. Excuse me, I should be saying it X. And also this contains the European Space Agency's Ariane 6, Russia's Angara 1.2 and Angara A5 variants, China's Long March 7A, which got launched 3 times as of now, and Long March 2FG 1 time. ESA Aerospace's Spectrum, Minotaur 4 rockets, Long March 5B, Atlas 5, which got launched 2 times, Europe's Vega C, which got launched 2 times, Firefly's Aerospace's Alpha rocket, Long March 3C, China's Zhu Q, I hope I can pronounce it right, Zhu Q 2E variant, India's PSLV XL, Kinetica 1, Long March 4B, and Long March 4C, each having 1 launch attempt. So that's all the breakdown of 24 rocket launch happened this year. I know it's a little boring to hear all of this saying. Rather, it will be easier to visualize. So I will be making a good pie chart so that you guys can see that. Now we are approximately 15 minutes from the liftoff. So guess we are 10 minutes away from the webcast to begin. Meanwhile, also would like to welcome YCF for tuning in. Uh, Thanks for tuning in, YCF, and hope you will be enjoying the stream. Well, Evans, yes, actually, let me say you, actually, I'm from computer science. Actually, these websites are being maintained using some SpaceX's APIs, application program interfaces. So when those APIs will be getting updated, these websites will be getting automatically updated with any kind of deviations in launch time or scrub, launch, anything. So I hope the API got updated right now. Although in the next spaceflights.com website, they immediately update it. So anyways, it's personal choice which websites we will be following. Absolutely no issues with that. Now we are just approximately 10 minutes away from the webcast to begin. Less than 10 minutes. So let me just quickly get back to the payload details, because those of who are joining right now who didn't join us at the earlier, just to make you guys aware of today's payload. Now, before discussing this payload details, once again, just a reminder, today's payload does not consist of any newer optimized Starlink version 2 mini satellites, and today's payload does not consist of any direct-to-cell satellites as well. These are the regular and basic version 2 mini variants of Starlink satellites. Today's launch is the 66th dedicated Starlink mission of the year and the 285th dedicated Starlink launch in total for SpaceX. The Starlink satellites are built in Redmond, Washington. Today's payload consists of 24 Starlink version 2 mini satellites. And for the stats, before this launch, SpaceX has already launched 1,611 Starlink satellites in 2025 alone. And with this one, the count jumps to 1,635. They already previously crossed the 1,500 mark. But if we include the 22 version 3 variants which got launched in the previous 3 Starship flights, unfortunately we couldn't saw the deployment, then the count gets to a total of 1,657 Starlink satellites launched this year. Although I'm not breaking down the every details for the payload because I already explained, just we are having some free time, so I'm just making you guys aware of, again repeating the same payload details. Just I'm highlighting the major points. Today's batch will be getting deployed initially in an orbit with an altitude of approximately 267 kilometers with an inclination of 97.61 degrees. But the operational orbit will be up at around 560 kilometers with the same inclination of 97.61 degrees. As I mentioned previously, today's launch does not consist any version 2 mini optimized Starlink satellites. So today's it's a version 2 mini satellite which weighs approximately 800 kilograms. But those who are not so much into the technical nitty-gritties, just to make you aware of, the newer optimized version of Starlink satellite weighs 575 kilometers, which is about 22% lighter than the original version 2 mini design. So that's the weight of a single Starlink satellite. So just consider a whole batch of Starlink satellites, and if we consider 96 of them, 29 of them, so it makes a real huge difference. And just to remind you that as of now, before today's launch, SpaceX launched 34 times of its optimized version 2 mini variants, bringing the total to 923 number of satellites. Once again, just to clarify, today's payload does not consist of any upgraded optimized Starlink version 2 minis or any direct-to-cell satellites on board. This batch features the regular baseline version 2 mini satellites. Let me check if the SpaceX did any more adjustment in today's liftoff time. As of now, no. So we are just 3 minutes away. So meanwhile, let me just quickly get done with the booster supporting today's mission. The booster with tail number 1075 will be supporting today's mission with 18 previous flights in its record, including missions like SDA-0A for Space Development Agency, SARA-2 for German Armed Forces, one rideshare mission, that is Transporter 11, which launched 116 satellites. And additionally, this booster supported 15 Starlink missions. Now awaiting its 19th flight, just approximately 9 minutes from now. The last mission supported by today's booster was Starlink 11-6 on 23rd of May 2025. So today is the third flight of this booster and landing on, of course, I Still Love You Droneship for this year. The booster's turnaround time as of today is 64 days. And worth mentioning, today's mission will be the 19th consecutive launch of this booster from Pad Slick 4 East at Vandenberg. Previously, there have been 15 landings made by the booster on, of course, I Still Love You, and 3 landings on landing zone 4. So that's all about the booster's flight history. We are still having more 2 minutes to go from the webcast to begin. Meanwhile, let me just give you some updates, what's going on. Also would like to welcome Balmore DJ Morris Acosta for tuning in. I hope you are doing well, Balmore. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you will be enjoying the remaining of the webcast with us. Now about some updates. SpaceX Crew Dragon Endeavour arrived at the hangar at Pad 39A in Florida on July 24th, ahead of its 6th flight to space station with NASA's Crew 11, no earlier than July 31st. Meanwhile, yesterday, or you can say today only, NASA, SpaceX, and international partners teams polled go to continue launch preparations following conclusions of the flight readiness review. And meanwhile, the 4 crew members departed NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston on Saturday, July 26th, and arrived at the launch site at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. So I guess it's time for the webcast to begin. Let me just quickly check if the stream is rolling or not and to be updated. Once again, just a reminder, there is a good chance of seeing a jellyfish effect today, visible to much of southwest of USA or northwest of Mexico region. So yes, the stream is up. Let me just set up the stream for you guys. So there we have it. The stream is rolling. Currently, SpaceX is playing some pre-launch tunes, so I will patch the mission audio feed in once it drops. Now, once again, just a quick request. Adding value to your viewing experience is our top priority here at AstroYonder. If you felt we somewhat achieved that, please consider liking this stream. It really helps others to find out this stream. Also consider subscribing to our channel as we work hard to bring you streams packed with stats, details, and insights. Your kind support with those little taps on your screen would really inspire us to keep up with our hard work to meet your expectations, and we would be incredibly grateful for your encouragement. Also, just a reminder, you can check out these stats we are breaking down on every stream. We are posting them on X on our handle there. So there we go. We have the live view of the Falcon 9 currently preparing for its liftoff. We got the call out. Tanks are pressurizing for a strong back retract. Now here we add a little bit of gas to firm up the tanks so that the clamp arms can open with a solid structure holding the Falcon 9. Once the arms are open, we start reclining the strong back about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9 since it's a Vandenberg flight. We did got the call out. The strong back retract process has commenced. Now hopefully if we will be able to have some closer views, there we go, we have it. Here you will be noticing those clamp arms at the very top of the second stage, just below the payload fairing, opening up, and the strong back reclining about 13 degrees away from the Falcon 9 very slowly. These operations are all operated hydraulically. While watching this live view of Falcon 9, a couple of important steps were completed. The spacecraft team switched to internal power a few minutes ago, and fueling of Falcon 9 first stage is finished, meaning all the RP-1 propellant is now on board. We are still loading the liquid oxygen on both the first and second stages, and will be listening in a couple of minutes for the LOX load completion for both the stages. Coming up on T-minus 3 minutes approximately, everything continues to be go. We are currently chilling in the Merlin engines backup from T-minus 7 minutes.
Stage 1 LOX load is complete.
When we open up pre-valves, which allows propellant down to the engines to get them prepared for the ignition just before the liftoff. We did got the call out for stage 1 LOX load completion. We are now waiting for second stage LOX load to get complete. That will finish up just inside T-minus 2 minutes mark. Now currently everything looks good. Range continues to be green, and the weather of course is having no issues today. I guess they forgot to give the call out.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
No, there we have it. We got the call out. Stage 2 LOX load being complete, meaning all the propellant are now on board. The Falcon 9 with 1 million pounds of propellant on board. We are now beginning to vent down the pressure that was in the tubing on the strong back. That's why we can see those clouds coming out there. This is an absolutely healthy indicator of launch coming up. Next event, T-minus 1 minute, we should be here the call out that Falcon 9 flight computers are in startup and controlling the rocket for remainder of the countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Right on time, Falcon 9 flight computers on stage 1 and stage 2 are running the rocket through the last minute of count. So let's listen.
Go for launch.
And there we have it, SpaceX Launchpad giving the final go for the launch. We are coming up on T-minus 30 seconds All systems continues to remain go for the launch of Falcon 9 and Starlink.
T minus 30 seconds.
So now let's sit back and enjoy the liftoff for today's Falcon 9 launch from Vandenberg.
T minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
We have liftoff. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower. We did got an awesome view during the liftoff from the pad. I guess SpaceX will be providing some ground tracking views, but today they are having good cloud cover there. We are currently 37 seconds into the flight. Propulsion is nominal. We got the healthy call out. Right now we are into a throttle bucket. We are throttling down the 9 Merlin engines as we prepare for the period of maximum dynamic stress coming up. With that call out vehicle being supersonic, we exceeded Mach 1 on Falcon 9. Falcon 9 is faster than the speed of sound as we have gone supersonic.
Max Q.
There we go, Max Q call out. We are through the period of maximum stress on the vehicle. We have throttled the 9 Merlin engines back up to full power. Next, we are expecting the call out for MVAC engine chill. We'll add
MVAC chill.
and AV musics. We are watching this stream over here because we are providing some more insights for each launch. So we got the call out for MVAC engine chill prior to its ignition just after stage separation. Coming up 3 events in rapid succession: the shutdown of main engine on first stage, also known as main engine cutoff, in short MECO, followed by stage separation and ignition of second stage MVAC engine. Also that event is known as SES1, that will boost the payload into low Earth orbit. So let's listen into those callouts.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
So there we go. We got the callouts for all the back-to-back milestones: MECO, stage separation, and MVAC ignition. Next, we are expecting the confirmation callout for fairing separation. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see those 4 hypersonic titanium grid fins to slowly begin deploying.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Absolutely good call out, which we were waiting for. Fairing separation is successful one. Right now we are not getting some views from the first stage as this is a nighttime launch, but we are getting the views from the second stage, although not as pretty as other days. In a daytime launch we are having those views. Now the first stage will continue to rise towards apogee before descending back down towards the landing on Droneship. Of course, I still love you station in the Pacific Ocean. Second stage, meanwhile, in middle of its 6-minute burn, is on its way into the parking orbit. Next major milestone in today's flight we are looking for is the start of the stage 1 entry burn. Meanwhile, just a reminder, we previously saw group 14 being skipped entirely, with SpaceX jumping straight to group 15. It's the same with group 16 being skipped and moving on with Group 17 launches. Today's mission also marks the third Starlink mission to a Sun-Synchronous orbit inclination in over 3 years, following the Group 3-5 launch back in 2023. Previously, we had 5 launches under Group 3, each deploying 46 numbers of version 1.5 Starlink satellites to a Sun-Synchronous orbit at an altitude of 560 kilometers with a 97.6-degree inclination. Similarly, today's Group 17-2 mission will target a near polar orbit with same inclination of 97.61 degrees, but with an altitude of 535 kilometers, slightly lower than the previous one. This Sun-Synchronous orbit is intended to improve Starlink's coverage in remote polar regions. Previously, Sun-Synchronous orbit launches were just for version 1.5 variant, but this time it's going to have the version 2 mini satellites. Enough of technical jargon. I guess I'm making the stream boring. So far, the launch has been great. The first stage has done its job and it's on its way back. The second stage is running at full power. Now, just a heads up, hearing stage 1 FTS being saved, that is a flight termination systems being saved. Call out means that the re-entry burn has initiated. That I was going to say, we did got the call out for stage 1 entry burn startup. We just lit 3 of 9 Merlin 1D engines on the first stage, and this burn should last just around 23 seconds.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
There we go. There's a confirmation of shutdown of entry burn on the first stage. Next up, we will be having getting a call out for stage 1 being transonic. Also, we will be getting stage 2 FTS being saved call out, which means that the stage 2 went through its orbital insertion burn successfully. Today, the first stage landing will be happening at 8 minutes and 23 seconds approximately into
Stage 1 transonic.
Into the flight, and we did got the call out stage 1 being transonic, which means that the first stage is now traveling slower than the speed of sound as it heads towards the landing. Speaking of landing, we are less than 60 seconds away from that. We also did got the call out for stage 2 FTS being saved. Next up, stage 1 landing burn.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There we go. Great views out there. Landing burn with center E9 engine now lit.
Stage 2 at terminal guidance.
With that, we are slowing down the vehicle furthermore very rapidly. Should be seeing those landing legs deploy any seconds now.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Landing legs deployed.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And there we have it. Successful 461st landing of an orbital class Falcon 9 rocket. Coming up next, we will have the second stage engine cutoff, that is SECO 1, and following that event, the second stage with payload on board will enter into nearly 46 minutes of course phase as the vehicle ascends to its target orbit.
MVAC shutdown.
There we go. We got the call out for MVAC shutdown, that is SECO 1.
Nominal orbit insertion.
Good call out there, and nominal orbit insertion. So these were the callouts we were waiting for. Second stage engine cutoff, SECO 1, as well as the confirmation of a good nominal orbit. Now about the payload deployment, that will be happening approximately T plus 1 hour, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Today's launch marks SpaceX's 520th successful mission, with the landing marking its 480th success, which marks 285th dedicated Starlink launch. So with that, we will wrap up our coverage for now. But before that, want to thank all of you for joining us on today's live launch coverage. It's impossible to do this broadcast without you and your encouragement. So thank you so much for your continued support of what we do here at AstroYonder. Also, please be sure to check out our social media handle on X for the latest happening in space industry and updates on upcoming launches. Hope the link got posted on the chat section. If not, you can search us on the X. We appreciate everyone joining us for today's launch. Once again, thanks for watching. This is AstroYonder Live and me, Dipta, sign off for now. Wishing you a happy weekend ahead, and we will see you on our next launch coverage.